Hello everyone. Today I'm going to read through the melee changes in the recently released patch 5.1 notes. Uh, it's a pretty interesting one. Some changes are amazing, some changes not so much. We'll get into that later. Well, in fact, we'll get into that now because Monk had some pretty terrible changes this patch and I'm not happy at all. I'm Anyway, let's get started. Okay, Monk. Rock Breaker. Area of effect has been changed from a cone to all nearby enemies. That's a good change because essentially it makes it like Arm of the Destroyer in Fourfold Fury where it does an AoE from where you are instead of in front of you like with the cone for Rock Breaker. So it just makes your AoE very consistent. Kind of like Ninja or Samurai or Dragoon, like all your moves just have the same shape. So that's nice. Okay, now we get into the nerfs. Mantra. Effect potency has been reduced from 20 to 10%. That is fine, I suppose. They did say they were going to nerf Mantra, and they did. 10% is what I expected, to be honest. And the nerf nobody asked for, nobody expected, it just came out of left field. And that, man, uh, is terrible. Now triggers the cooldown of weapon skills upon execution and cannot be executed during weapon skill cooldown. Essentially, this puts a Natman on GCD because you have to wait for your actual GCD to finish before the game will even allow you to activate a Natman. So now, currently with the opener, you just do Demolish, then you use a Natman as an OGCD, get your Grease Lightning stack, then continue with Dragon Kick when your GCD comes back up. You can't do that anymore. You can't do that anymore. Now, you have to do Demolish, wait for the GCD to finish, then do a Natman, which already is going to take at least one GCD, maybe longer if you didn't time it correctly. Then continue when you get your second Grease Lightning stack. It's, it's quite the nerf to Monk's opener. It's pretty terrible. I don't understand why they did this. Maybe they just hate ACT so much and they don't want that stuff in their game anymore. Yeah, who knows? I don't know their reason, but it's happening and it sucks and it's pretty terrible. People are currently experimenting doing pre-pull a Natman where the tank pulls right on time and then when you get aggro from the boss that was pulled by the tank, you then get your Grease Lightning 1 stack, then show the tackle to the boss and then do Demolish to get Grease Lightning 2. That may work, that may not work, but honestly, I'm tired of this janky ass skill. Honestly, I don't understand why they can't just make it give you like a Grease Lightning stack instantly as soon as you press it or something. I'm tired of it, man. I'm tired of complaining about a Natman. I'm tired of it. Anyway, I'm done. Rant over. Next job, Dragoon. Dragoon got nothing but buffs, pretty much. Pretty straightforward. Blood of the Dragon, recast time reduced from 30 to 25 seconds. Nice. I guess it makes it easier to refresh your Blood of the Dragon without cutting it close because you have a 5-second breathing room now from when you press the button. Just Go increased by 30 potency, 270 to 300. Mirage Dive increased by 50 potency, 250 to 300. Star Diver increase from 550 to 600. So more raw damage. Dragoon is going to hit harder now. I don't know how much of a percentage increase it is, but more damage is more damage. I'm actually surprised that they didn't do anything about your AoE refreshing Disembowel. They also still haven't done anything about Dragon Sight. I still think that tether is a bit too short. Yeah, I think that's it. Oh yes, and Star Diver. Animation lock is freaking ridiculous. I'm surprised they didn't reduce that like they've done with Jump over the years. But yeah, that's it for Dragoon. Pretty straightforward. Nothing else to say about that. Moving on. Ninja. Ooh, Ninja's crazy, man. They reworked the hell out of this job. It's actually insane. It's basically a new job now. They weren't lying. Like there's so many changes to Ninja that it's probably gonna take me like 15 minutes just to go through all of this in DO. So let's not waste any more time. Mug. Recast time has been increased from 110 to 120 seconds. Okay, so it's on a 60-second window now, so it will line up better with Trick Attack, I suppose. So that's nice. Trick Attack, big one, big change. Potency has been increased from 340 to 350. They removed the extra damage you do when activated from the rear of an enemy, because before that used to give you 500 potency attack when you did it from the rear. But in exchange, there's no positional for Trick Attack anymore. You can use it anywhere. Well, most ninjas normally pair Trick Attack with True North every time anyway, just to make sure it goes off, so I didn't really think that was a huge problem. Oh yes, and by the way, I have leveled Ninja to 80 and I've been playing it quite a lot recently, and yeah, I can actually talk about the job now. Like last time in 5.05 where I had no idea about Ninja. Now I get it. Pretty fun job. Anyway, so yeah, you can use Trick Attack anywhere now. True North is less needed now. Effect potency has been reduced from 10 to 5%. Where was this Trick Attack nerf 2 expansions ago back in Heavensward and Stormblood, by the way? Like, just saying, man. Just saying. Anyway, it's 5% now. It's nowhere near as powerful. It's still better than Brotherhood though, because it affects everybody instead of just physical attackers. Still don't know why that's a thing for Monk, but we ain't talking about Monk anymore, okay? We ain't talking about Monk anymore. Effect duration has been increased from 10 to 15 seconds. So yeah, Trick Attack lasts longer now. It gives you more breathing room to fit literally everything in there. So yeah, it's pretty nice. Aeolian Edge, just potency increases. 20 potency increase from non-positional hits and rear positional hits. 400 to 420 and 460 to 480. Pretty standard. Shadowfang got a pretty big change though. Potency on hit has been increased from 100 to 200. Double damage is a lot. No longer a combo action with Spinning Edge. The combo bonus damage over time has been changed to an additional effect. Dot potency has been increased from 70 to 90, and the last 30 seconds now, that's an increase from 24. No longer shares a recast time with other actions, so you can use it anytime in your combo. It says it also here, yeah. Execution of Shadowfang will no longer interrupt combos. So you can do Spinning Edge, Shadowfang, or Spinning Edge, Goslar, Shadowfang, and then continue your combo and finish off with Aeolian Edge. You can use it anytime. It's like Sonic Break for Gunbreaker or Drill for Machinist, stuff like that. And the recast time has been increased from 2.5 to 70 seconds. This basically means that it's no longer a GCD and it has its own individual cooldown. But what I'm curious about is whether this 70-second cooldown is actually affected by skill speed or Hooton, or it's just 70 seconds flat all the time. Because Sonic Break is affected by skill speed, Drill is affected by skill speed, so I assume that realistically this would be more along the lines of a 55-second cooldown when you have Hooton up and have decent skill speed too. But I don't know, just have to wait and see. Anyway, moving on. Tenchi Jin. Now, I got confused about this for so long, but this is actually referring to the individual mudras and not the skill of the same name. So this is talking about the mudras itself, not Tenchi Jin as a skill. That confused me for so long. I was like, what the hell? This makes no sense in the context of Tenchi Jin, but they're actually talking about the mudras itself. And they went through some pretty big changes. Duration has been increased from 5 to 6 seconds, so you have an extra second to input the next Mudra before it falls off, now has a maximum of 2 charges. So you can basically use ninjutsus twice in a row. Also, holding ninjutsus or holding your mudras is nowhere near as much of a punishment as it is now, where if you don't use it on cooldown, you're basically losing damage. Now you have 2 charges, so it's only really a damage loss if you have both charges and are still not using the mudras. So more breathing room, so it's nice. Now triggers the cooldown of weapon skills, mudra, and ninjutsu upon execution. Okay, this basically means that Tenchi Jin is on the GCD, and every time you use it, it spins, it activates the global cooldown. That's all it means. Execution of weapon skills now trigger the cooldown of this action. So yeah, once again, it's on the global cooldown. So every time you use a weapon skill, you cannot use a mudra in between your weapon skills like you can now. You have to do a GCD, then commit to using a mudra afterwards. Recast time has been increased from 0.5 to 20 seconds. Now this, I don't really know what they mean by that, because the recast time for mudras is 0.5 seconds, but from what we saw from the live letter, it's still the same mudras where you just go beep beep beep. So the recast time should still be 0.5, but I don't understand what they mean by 20 seconds. I know the cooldown after using a ninjutsu should be 20 seconds, but yeah, it's a bit confusing. Like the mudras themselves have a cooldown now of 20 seconds, but I guess that's what they mean. Instead of ninjutsu actually having the cooldown of 20 seconds, the mudras have a cooldown, but they always had the cooldown of 20 seconds. So anyway, whatever. I guess we'll find out soon. The mudra status effect will no longer be renewed by consecutive inputs of a mudra action. This is huge, because this basically prevents you from making a mistake in bunnying your ninjutsu. So let's say I want to do right on. You do 10 chi. Right now, if you do 10 and you press 10 more than once, it's going to fail the mudra and you have to use the bunny. And that's it, you lost your mudra. Now, if you press 10 and press 10 again, it doesn't do anything. Then I could press chi and then right on will still activate. So it basically prevents you from botching up your ninjutsu if you accidentally press a mudra more than once. So that's amazing. Ninjutsu. Recast timer is no longer triggered when ninjutsu is executed or when a mudra timer runs out. So ninjutsu seems that it's always available. It's also on the global cooldown as well, just like the mudras. Recast time has been reduced from 20 to 1.5 seconds. So what this basically means that when you activate the ninjutsu, your global cooldown will go on a 1.5 second cooldown. And then your mudras will actually start counting down from 20 seconds. So you could actually weave in something after a mudra, after a ninjutsu has been used. So that's pretty nice. So you can just do a GCD, then do 10 and then chi and then a right on, and then you can weave something after the right on and then continue. So it's nice flexibility. Now, pretty much every single ninjutsu got buffed significantly. Like, it's huge. These potencies are crazy. Well, ninja is more like dancer now, where your mudras are tied on GCD. So I don't know the maths behind this. Maybe it's actually a loss because you can't do this as an OGCD anymore. But yeah, that's the reason for the buffs. Fuma Shuriken, potency increased from 280 to 500. It's also on the GCD. Basically every single ninjutsu follows the same rules as the original ninjutsu, so everything I read before, just bear that in mind. Katon, 250 to 500 potency. 500 potency AoE with no fall off is pretty ridiculous. Rhyton, 400 to 800 potency. 800 potency Rhyton. Like, what? Hyoton. Potency has been increased from 140 to 400. So even if you accidentally use Hyoton instead of Hyoshiranyu, it still does a lot of damage. Obviously that's half the damage of Rhyton, so you still, no matter what, want to use Rhyton all the time, but it's not a complete disaster to use Hyoton, even if it's by accident. So yeah, pretty big buffs. Huton, yeah, follows the same rules as every other ninjutsu, that's it. Doton, potency has been increased from 45 to 100. I think Doton lasts 24 seconds, if I remember correctly, so that's 100 potency per tick, if I recall. That's a lot of extra damage, man. 100 extra potency per tick and it lasts 24 seconds. That's about 8 to 9 ticks or something. I don't know, my brain is not really working properly right now. But anyway, it's a lot of extra damage. Suiton, huge buff. 130 to 600 potency. 600 potency for Suiton. 600. Like, right now, you just use Suiton to set up Trick. You don't really care about the damage Suiton itself does because it's a measly 130 potency. 600 potency for Suiton. Oh my god. So, even if you use Suiton to set up Meisui, you're still getting a lot of damage out of it still. It's only 200 potency less than Rhyton. Man, that's crazy. These ninjutsus are gonna be very fun to use now because they'll just give you some huge ass numbers, man. Anyway, Kasatsu. Pretty big change for this. No longer resets the ninjutsu recast timer, so it's its own buff. And it doesn't reset the recast timer, so you don't have to do ninjutsu, then Kasatsu to reset the timer, and then do ninjutsu again. You just activate it, and then just wait for your ninjutsu to be available again, and then you just do it, and then it gets the Kasatsu bonuses. Charges have been removed, so it's like the way it was back in Stormblood and Heaven's Word. It's its own thing. On a 60-second cooldown, you just use it once every minute. That's it. The effect allows the execution of a single ninjutsu without consumption of mojo charges has been added. So essentially, this allows you to use a ninjutsu for free. It doesn't affect your your mojo charges. So you could do something like Kasatsu, ninjutsu, and then if you have 2 extra charges still, then you can do another ninjutsu and then another ninjutsu again. So you could do like 3 ninjutsus in a row, really. And with how powerful these ninjutsu are now, it's gonna be pretty wild. Now, I think this is a mistake. Recast time now set at 15 seconds. That can't be right. That cannot be correct. Because what that implies is that you can use Kasatsu every 15 seconds. And I'm telling you that if you can use Kasatsu every 15 seconds, Ninja will be busted. So I think I don't really even know what this is meant to mean because it can't be duration either. Because Kasatsu already lasts 15 seconds when you activate it anyway. So wouldn't it be a bit redundant to tell us that you can use Kasatsu and then it lasts 15 seconds when you activate it? I don't know, maybe you can use Kasatsu every 15 seconds and yeah, you can use Hyoshiranyu every 15 seconds. Maybe that's what it means. I highly doubt it. I think this is a mistake. It shouldn't be there. But yeah, I guess we'll find out on Tuesday. Also, another thing to note, the 30% ninjutsu damage buff you get from Kasatsu is still there. It's not removed. So yeah, we'll get to that later when we talk about Hyoshiranyu. Armor Crush. Combo potency has been increased from 380 to 400. And flank combo potency has been increased from 440 to 460. So yeah, 20 extra potency on Armor Crush with the position or without, that's fine. Dream within a dream. Duration has been increased from 10 to 15 seconds. What they mean by this is the assassinate ready buff. I assume they are talking about the assassinate ready buff because when you use Dream within a dream, it gives you a buff to be able to use assassinate, which is just an extra 200 potency attack you can use after. So yeah, you have an extra 5 seconds to use assassinate somewhere during your rotation, so it's just more breathing room once again. Now we get to Ninky stuff. Health Rogue Medium. Potency has been reduced from 400 to 200, so it's a pretty heavy nerf, but potency no longer reduced after the first enemy. So the way it is currently, let me see if I can find it. Yes, Health Rogue Medium currently does 400 potency on the first enemy and 50% less for all remaining enemies. So it basically drops off to 200 potency on everybody else. But what this change does is that it just makes it 200 potency for everything. So technically it's a nerf, but as you'll find out later, it's not really a nerf, to be honest. Bavakakra also got nerfed 500 to 300 potency. Big point here. Key gauge has been reduced from 80 to 50 for both of them. And as we get to right at the end, you'll find out that you'll be able to generate Ninki way more over time. So you're going to be using these way more often. Hence the reason why the potencies have been nerfed. Tenchi Jin. No, okay, now we're not talking about the Mudras itself, we're talking about the ability itself, Tenchi Jin. The effects of this action have been revamped. Tenchi Jin now functions as follows. Temporarily converts each of the 3 mudra into a ninjutsu action. Executing one of these actions will convert the remaining mudra into different ninjutsu actions until all 3 have been executed or the Tenchi Jin effect expires. Duration 6 seconds. Only ninjutsu available while active. The same ninjutsu cannot be executed twice. Cannot be executed while under the effect of Kasatsu. Effect ends upon moving. So unfortunately, you still have to stay still. But this is huge change. You don't actually have to input the mudra, then the ninjutsu, then another mudra, then a ninjutsu, and then another mudra, and then another ninjutsu. Because the way it is now is like, let's say you want to do Tenchi Jin Sweet On. You do Ten, Fuma, Chi, Right On, Jin, Sweet On. Now, it just basically changes the button itself to the ninjutsu. So instead of doing 6 inputs, it cuts it down to 3. So you just do Fuma, Right On, Sweet On, or Fuma, Katon, Doton. You just press the button, it does a ninjutsu. You don't have to enter any mudras anymore. So it's way faster to use. And you also cannot make a mistake like you can currently with Tenchi Jin, because the game wouldn't allow you to use the same ninjutsu twice anyway. So it's very hard to botch this. If I don't even you can't botch it anymore, really. Amazing change. It's really needed because man, Tenchi Jin sucks. It sucks to use right now. I still don't like the fact that you cannot move, but the fact that it's like 50% faster to execute, I can live with that. Meisui, huge change. Increase in Ninki has been increased from 40 to 50, and the recast time is 2 minutes. Right now, another main thing that makes ninja so complicated to optimize is Ninki manipulation. Because sometimes you have to think about, oh, am I going to have enough Ninki generated by the time I get to trick attack to activate Bunshin with that trick attack window? So maybe instead of using a right on here, I have to use a sweet on just to have it ready to use base sweet to get the extra Ninki so that my Ninki, I can press that button and then get enough Ninki to use Bunshin when triggers. It's crazy. Like, optimize the ninja, you need a galaxy brain, man, to play ninja at a high level. But this change basically essentially just makes it to a free Ninki ability button every 2 minutes. That's it. So, and considering how strong Sweeton is now, it's not even gonna feel that bad to do Sweeton just to set up base Sweet. So it should technically be a DPS gain because you're losing 200 potency for using Sweeton instead of Raiton, but you get to use an extra buff of Kakra or even Bunshin. So it should be a DPS gain to use Mace 3 all the time. So that's nice. Now we get to the Kasatsu Augmented Ninjutsu. Goka Mecha Q. Potency has been increased from 400 to 750 with no fall off. Like Goka Mecha Q already hit like a truck in AoE. Now it's 750. Like it's almost double the damage. Like right now I've been hitting Gokas for like 25, 26k when they crit, and this is with no fall off. And now it's 750 no fall. That's a lot of damage, man. That's a lot of damage, man. Granted, Kasatsu doesn't have two charges anymore, so you cannot use it anywhere near as often. So that one use has to feel good. Speaking of feeling good, Yosha Ranyu. This is basically your single target equivalent. Potency has been increased from 600 to 1200 potency. It's the same potency as Kaiten Midare from Samurai. What? What? And bear this in mind, Kasatsu also increases your next ninjutsu damage by 30%. So it's 1200 potency base plus 30%. You know, let me just calculate it real quick. Give me a second. So we want to see what 30% of 1200 is, right? So you have 30 divided by 100 times 1200, 360 plus 1200. So realistically, Hyosha Ranyu is actually 1560 potency. That's even more than technical step from Dancer, which is already the hardest hitting single target ability in the game. That's crazy. While we're at it, let's just actually check the potency of Goka Mecha Q as well. Goka Mecha Q, 975 potency. You can only use these two with Kasatsu, so this is really the actual potency for both of them all the time, every time you use them anyway. So, that's crazy. That's pretty wild. Bunshin, huge change for Bunshin. Because right now, Bunshin is a 15-second buff that basically makes a Shadow Clone, costs 18 Inki, and every GCD you do during Bunshin within that 15-second window, it does extra damage, 200 potency extra damage on single target, 100 extra on AoE. But now they've completely revamped it. Bunshin now functions as follows. Grants 5 stacks of Bunshin, each stack allowing your shadow to attack enemies each time you execute a weapon skill. Duration has been increased from 15 to 30 seconds. Increased the Ninki gauge per attack has been changed from 4 to 5. Ninki gauge cost has been reduced from 80 to 50. Recast time is now 90 seconds from 110. The Bunshin status icon will now display the number of attacks remaining for your shadow. So essentially, you use Bunshin, you have a 30-second window to do 5 GCDs, and yeah, that's it. So it's way less stressful to use now. It's been a 90-second window as well, allows you to use it more often, and you can actually use it on cooldown. So every third trick attack you will have Bunshin available pretty much. So you go trick attack with Bunshin, and then there's no Bunshin, and then you have Bunshin again, I think. Anyway, it will line up naturally when you use it on cooldown. So this actually kind of reminds me of the way Ninja used to play back in Stormblood, where you had Ninki abilities for the first time, where you went down a priority list. You had the Tenchi Jin, and then you could use the Buffer Kakra, and then when you had both of them on cooldown, you have Hellfrog Medium. So now you use Bunshin when you have 50 Ninki. When you don't have Bunshin available, then you just basically use Hellfrog Medium or Buffer Kakra as filler, depending on the situation. Ninki gauge has been increased to 5, so every attack will give you 10 Ninki now. Speaking of Ninki generation, Shukiho, I think that's how you say it. I'm not Japanese, so, sorry for butchering it. Increase to Ninki gauge has been reduced from 6 to 5. Yeah, they had to reduce it from 6 to 5 because 5 is obviously a multiple of 50, so this allows you to gain 50 Ninki from 0 with 10 GCDs. But Shukiho 2 makes you generate this even faster. Increase to Ninki gauge has been changed from 8 to 10, but there's a catch. Requirements has been changed from landing any weapon skill or successfully completing any combo to landing Shadowfang. Well, let me read this slower. It's changed from you requiring to hit any GCD to either landing Shadowfang or successfully completing a combo with Aeolian Edge or Armor Crush. So Spinning Edge and Gust Slash will still give you 5 Ninki per use, but when you finish the combo with Aeolian or Armor Crush, you get 10 Ninki. Luckily, it doesn't require you to hit the positional like it does for, say, Samurai, for you to get the extra Ninki. So it goes 5-5-10, 5-5-10, and then anytime you Shadowfang, you just get 10 straight away. So it's a pretty good change. It's a pretty good change. So every actual combo you do, you get 20 Ninki. It's pretty nice. So I think you will have enough from 0 to 50 with 8 GCDs, which is even faster than the 10 you need right now to actually use a Ninki ability. And that's it. That took a long time, but yeah, it's a lot. Like, Ninja is gonna be an absolute beast, and I am really considering swapping to Ninja from Monk when this patch comes out, because man, like, after everything I just read, you gotta at least try the job, man. Like, this job is essentially a brand new job added mid expansion. Like, there's so many changes, it's not even the same job anymore. It's pretty, it looks good, man. I'm very happy with what they did with Ninja. I just hope high ping players can enjoy Ninja as well, because they need to enjoy this job, man. Everyone should be able to play Ninja, and I think Ninja is going to be clean as hell, man. My only problem is, well, anyway, we'll talk about the sale of for melee when I get to Samurai, when I'm done with Samurai. And Samurai also got some pretty huge changes as well. Not as huge as Ninja, but it's pretty huge. Meditate. The maximum number of stacks gained has been reduced from 5 to 3. The meditation effect, status effect, no longer has a duration, so you can keep your meditation stacks forever, basically. Now triggers the cooldown of weapon skills upon execution and cannot be executed during weapon skill cooldown. So, unfortunately, it has the same nerf as an Atman, so you cannot weave this in between GCDs. Like, you can't fish. So basically, this patch kills fishing for procs. You can't fish for Grease Lightning stacks with an Atman anymore. You can't fish for meditation stacks with Meditate anymore. So you just can't do it. If you do it with Samurai, it's just going to be a DPS loss because you're basically clipping into your GCD severely anyway, and it's not worth it. So don't bother. Hakagure. Increase to Kenki gauge has been changed from 5 to 10. So when you have 3 sen, you can get 30. 30 Kenki. Yeah, Kenki. That's what it's called. I don't know whether this means you can use Hakaguri on cooldown like it could back in the day in Stormblood, where getting 3 sen allowed you to get 60 Kenki, which is pretty nuts. But I don't know, maybe this might bring back Shinten spam. I'm not sure. But it looks more enticing to use Hakaguri to clean up your sen, depending on what you're doing with your rotation. Tsubame Geishi. Global cooldown when executing this action is now affected by skill speed. I think I may be reading this wrong or not, but what this implies to me is that when you use Tsubame Geishi, since it's instant, you have to wait 2.5 seconds before you can continue attacking. What this tells me is that after you use Tsubame Geishi, the time in between using an instant ability and going to your next GCD is gonna match your global cooldown speed. So it's gonna gain the Shifu benefit. I'm kind of disappointed. I mean, it's a nice change, but I was hoping that this meant that Tsubame Geishi would have the drill or the sonic break treatment where the skill actually gets faster the more skill speed you have. So it just lines up better. But I don't know, maybe I'm reading this wrong. Maybe that is the case. You just have to wait till Tuesday. Shoha. Shoha got a massive adjustment. It's now actually usable in your rotation now, which thank the Lord, because Shoha, people say Six-Sided Star is the worst level 80 ability. At least Six-Sided Star has some use. Shoha had no uses whatsoever, man. I'm telling you right now, it was pretty worthless. Now it's not. Potency is now fixed at 400, so it's basically a little bit stronger than Shinten. Requirement for execution is now fixed at 3 stacks of meditation. Recast time has been increased from 1 to 15 seconds. But yeah, you can actually get meditation stacks during combat now. How? Every single EI Jutsu and every single EI Jutsu used with Tsubame Geishi grants a stack of meditation. So you get meditation from your normal EI Jutsu, you get meditation from your Tsubame Geishi EI Jutsu. That's pretty huge. I think they said in testing that they could use Shoha every 30 to 40 seconds in a rotation. So 400 potency attack every 30 to 40 seconds. It's a lot of damage, man. It's a lot. I thought it was only going to be tied to Midori. I was not expecting it to be tied to every single EI Jutsu. So yeah, the fact that it's tied to Higanbana and Midori during single target, you can get 3 stacks of meditation pretty damn fast. So that's cool. That's pretty nice. Can't wait to try it out. Already bought the E4S weapon for Ninja and Samurai, so man, let me tell you right now, I'm probably going to spend like 5 hours hitting the dummy with these 2 classes, because whew, these changes are pretty spicy, man. Jinpu, yeah, it got nerfed, and Shifu got nerfed as well. Yukikaze got nerfed. Yeah, it looks bad, but I think with all these changes with Shoha, it's definitely going to compensate. Fuga is actually bigger as well. Range and radius have been increased from 6 to 8. Cone size has been increased. Fuga is the ability you use as the prerequisite for Mangetsu or Oka, though the AoE attacks that actually give you Sen. So it's nice that it's getting bigger now. And Meikyo Shisui will now display the number of weapon skills that can be executed without combo requirements, because people can't count 3, it seems. But hey, it's quality of life. That's it. And yeah, that's every single melee. Pretty huge changes for all 4 melee. Some better than others, yeah. You know, you already know which one got shafted this patch, but you know, people kept on saying Monk is OP, Monk is OP. Well, yeah, Monk definitely got nerfed, alright. It got nerfed, alright. Granted, I still think the Anap and opener is still gonna be more of a DPS gain than using any other type of opener. It's just gonna be really painful. Like a Nat man with the tick timer, it was a bit janky, but it was doable, right? You just timed it, you got your stack almost instantly. It felt good. But now, it, yeah, it's pretty terrible. It's pretty terrible. I don't know what kind of developments monk mains around the world are gonna try and discover. But honestly, I'm tired of a Nat man. Just bring back Wind Tackle from Stormblood. Those were the good old days, man. Those were the good old days. Don't get me wrong, I love Monk the way it is now, but that and that man change. It's definitely pushing me off the job because that sounds so terrible to use. Anyway, this video is pretty damn long. Then again, can you blame me? There's a lot to talk about with Ninja and Samurai especially. So I'm gonna end it here. If you watched through all of this, then yeah, thanks for listening to me rant about all these changes, and see you in the next one. Enjoy patch 5.1 when it comes out on Tuesday. See you then.